Ici Londres.
Negotiations depend on good faith. You have to have a reasonable expectation that the other party is going to act in the way that was agreed and not rely on some smart alecky, clever reading of the small print. Now ask yourself, has there been visible good faith from the EU side in the Brexit negotiations? Think about the language we've heard in recent days. Donald Tusk telling leavers to go to hell. Far more outrageously, in my view, Jean-Claude Juncker thinking it appropriate to release the text of a letter that outrageously claimed that Britain had no interest in peace in Northern Ireland. An extraordinary insult to the 3,500 people killed in the Troubles, many of them wearing British uniforms. Does that strike you as a negotiating partner that wants to have an equitable outcome that delivers for both sides? It's very, very obvious that whenever Theresa May speaks about this, she says, I want to be the EU's best friend and closest ally, whereas every time they respond, Brussels leaders say that they want Britain to fail outside. And this is why we cannot accept a backstop that depends on continuing goodwill. Even if it's not a question of tone, if you look at the substance, it is now becoming clear when you listen to them off the record that Eurocrats see that the only way out of the backstop is with some kind of permanent customs union, which of course is precisely the objection to the backstop in the first place. It would allow the EU to control our trade vis-à-vis third countries even after we'd left. Obviously brilliant for them, a terrible idea for us, and not one that any sovereign country should contemplate. And that ultimately is why we cannot accept the deal as long as it contains this provision. EU membership itself at least had an exit clause. There was a clearly recognized avenue for a member state to depart. You cannot replace something that has an exit clause with something that has no exit clause, because the backstop uniquely can only be withdrawn from with the permission of both parties. So if you're dealing effectively with a negotiating partner who is now depending on threats, much better to face those threats down now and confidently.